right? I know a lot of you guys are going to say, yo, Mike, we're not really going to take your opinion seriously because you're a Laker fan. But if you've been watching my videos for a while, think of all the times I've said that the Los Angeles Clippers have a better team on paper than the Lakers. Take in every piece of analysis and every piece of impartial advice I gave about the Los Angeles Clippers every time I made a video. I literally chose them over the Lakers multiple times, and I said if these two ever met in a series, I felt like the Clippers would win. Although that's not what ended up happening, that's what I felt like because the Clippers did have a better team on paper. So bear that in mind before we jump into this video today. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, I'm gonna rephrase this multiple times. You guys all know, if you're a subscriber to this page, you know I'm a diehard Laker fan. And you know, despite me being a Laker fan, I think I've been one of the more logical Laker fans on YouTube. I've always criticized them when it made sense. I've always suggested things they should do when it made sense. But one of the things I'm probably the most notorious for that draws the ire of Laker fans everywhere is the fact that I've said multiple times that the Los Angeles Clippers are deeper and are better equipped to defeat them in a playoff series if these two should meet in the playoffs. Well, unfortunately, we were not granted that pleasure. As a matter of fact, I was very frustrated when I saw that the Clippers were not going to make it to the Western Conference Finals to face the Los Angeles Lakers, because I thought that was going to be the true NBA Finals. In the past 3 years, the better series and the best series of the NBA playoffs has always been the Western Conference Finals. The two top teams in the West is probably the most exciting matchup that you could watch on a year-to-year basis, based off of the fact that the West is significantly deeper than the East, and more often than not, the strongest team on the West is way better than the strongest team on the East. It's not even comparable at this point. So we all know how the story goes, and if you don't, let me catch you up. About a month ago, the Los Angeles Clippers lost a 3-1 series lead to the Denver Nuggets, and I don't think you understand how bad this 3-1 series deficit was. Like, the Nuggets were literally down 20 points to the Los Angeles Clippers in a game where the Clippers could have potentially just ended the series right there. The Nuggets came back, they beat the Clippers that game, brought the series to 3-2, then ended the series and came all the way back and won in Game 7. The Clippers had a meltdown in Game 7, and Doc Rivers was fired. There's a myriad of reasons why Doc Rivers may have been fired. The on-court basketball reason is the fact that Steve Ballmer's analytics team, which he invested a tremendous amount of capital in, brought it to Doc Rivers' attention that whenever Montrezl Harrell has been on the court versus the Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Clippers were a -30 in net rating. When you substitute Montrezl Harrell for Ivica Zubac, well, they're a +11 in net rating. And it seems as though Doc Rivers ignored that analytics, and as a result of that, well, I think he got fired. Of course, there's the other reason why he may have gotten fired, which we have a whole dedicated video on, which has to do with the fact that Paul George dated Doc Rivers' daughter 6 years ago, cheated on her with his current girlfriend that he has multiple children with. That's a whole different rabbit hole. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, it's going to be at the end screen, so you could watch that at the end of this video. So, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, Tyronn Lue is finalizing a 5-year deal to become the next coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. Ty Lue was an assistant coach with the Los Angeles Clippers this year, and that wasn't his primary choice, by the way. His top choice last year was becoming the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, so much so that on his birthday, they brought him a Los Angeles Lakers birthday cake the night before his interview. Well, he went into that interview, the Los Angeles Lakers quote-unquote lowballed him, and he got very upset, and he decided to become a Clippers assistant. Now, this isn't the only piece of information we have in regards to the Clippers shaking things up in their front office, if you even want to call it shaking things up, because literally they're just elevating an assistant. It's not like they pulled Ty Lue off the street and brought him in. There's some familiarity here. This is the same way Ty Lue became the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, although with the Cleveland Cavaliers, that was an in-season firing of David Blatt and an elevation of Ty Lue from the assistant coach status to head coach. Over here, it's occurring during the offseason. Now, the most prominent member of Tyronn Lue's head coaching staff so far, according to Shams Charania, is the 2004 NBA Finals MVP and 5-time All-Star Chauncey Billups, and the former Hawks, Bucks, and most recently Cleveland Cavaliers head coach Larry Drew. Now, this doesn't really excite me at all, to be honest. Nothing against Larry Drew and Chauncey Billups, but you have a guy that has literally no coaching experience whatsoever in Chauncey Billups, although a guy that's very, very respected, and you have a failed coach in Larry Drew. Now, look, man, I don't want to go that deep into this. I'm just going to give you guys my thoughts and my analysis, but before I get to that, I want you guys to take a moment and comment if this is an upgrade over Doc Rivers or not, because I asked you guys this on Twitter, and, well, for the most part, all of you guys said no, this is not an upgrade over Doc Rivers. As a matter of fact, this is a downgrade. And I don't blame you guys for thinking that, because say what you want about Doc Rivers. You know, he has 20 years of head coaching experience. He's won Coach of the Year, I think once or twice. He's won an NBA championship. He made it to the NBA Finals twice. And although he's had plenty of opportunities to win even more championships with the talent that was given to him, I trust his defensive schemes and his ability to game plan a little bit more than Ty Lue's. And that's saying something, because I don't think Doc Rivers is that remarkable at game planning, given the fact that he ignored an analytic. How do you ignore scientific data? I don't understand it. But if you look at Tyronn Lue, this is a player that, one, in my opinion, caters and tends to coddle his players. And I feel like that's the reason why he was elevated to the head coaching position to begin with the Cleveland Cavaliers. David Blatt and LeBron James would butt heads a lot. And LeBron James, if he doesn't respect you, he doesn't want to be coached by you. Tyronn Lue kind of let LeBron James do his own thing, run the offense through him, and LeBron James was pretty much the head coach during the time Tyronn Lue was in Cleveland. There's multiple videos of literally LeBron James running the huddle while Tyronn Lue is stepping back. And that's what Ty Lue did. And that's the reason why he was successful. He let LeBron James do LeBron James. And that's why I don't think this is going to work for the Los Angeles Clippers, because in this situation, you have an extremely toxic and volatile situation. You have a bunch of phenomenal talent on a roster that clearly doesn't get along with each other. The entire locker room literally turned on Paul George after that playoff run. There was so many reports on it. There's literally, like, people were making fun of me. My subscribers were making fun of me for the amount of videos I made on every single thing that came out about Paul George. But there were so many things coming out about how much the Clippers didn't get along with Paul George, how his own teammates that were role players on his roster thought they were as good as him. Hell, Kawhi Leonard's trainer came out and said that Paul George was garbage. How much more of a toxic locker room situation do you need? Well, I don't think you're going to fix this toxic locker room by coddling the players and giving them what they want. On top of that, Tyronn Lue has no offensive system whatsoever. In an NBA where we've learned that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George simply do not succeed if you just have them ISO on ball every single possession, you have a head coach that has shown to all of us that he is absolutely not capable of game planning or creating an offensive system whatsoever. And I hope I'm wrong, because for the entirety of my NBA fandom career, I've been waiting for a legitimate Los Angeles Clippers versus Los Angeles Lakers rivalry. So Clipper fans, don't think I'm against you guys here. I am absolutely with you guys here. I'm hoping I'm absolutely wrong here, but I just don't see how this is the right hire, especially when you're committing 5 years to Tyronn Lue. So let me know how this is going to fix the locker room situation. Let me know how this fixes any problem that the Clippers have whatsoever. Let me know what they're bringing Tyronn Lue in to do. Maybe there's something you see that I don't see. I'm not trying to hate on the man, but dude, for Pete's sake, if you think that LeBron James really wanted Tyronn Lue to coach him last year, don't you think he would have gotten it done? When Tyronn Lue felt lowballed, do you think that if LeBron James really wanted him there, he could have easily just gone up to Rob Pelinka and said, yo, I need this guy to coach us? He didn't care. He was fine with letting Tyronn Lue walk. So that should give you enough information on what you need to know about this hire, but I want to get your opinion in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy, TheFlightMike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.